Good afternoon, and welcome to the FY 2024 application webinar of the Small Dollar Loan Program. My name is Eddie Cybulewski. I'm the program manager, and I'm excited to see so many participants joining today's webinar. The purpose of this webinar is to provide an overview of the Small Dollar Loan Program and to talk about the FY 2024 application and its components. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a few important items. The first one is that this recording and the slides will be available on our website shortly. We ask that you keep your cameras off and your phone lines muted. We will have an opportunity for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. We ask that you use the chat feature in the Zoom platform, and we'll address all of your questions at the end. This is the second application webinar. The first one was hosted on November 2nd, and it's available on our website. The content of this presentation is identical to the first application webinar. And then last but not least, we've also made available the AMIS application demo, which covers how applicants can create, submit, and navigate the AMIS application. This presentation focuses on the content and the more substantive areas of the application presentation. So with that, let's jump into it. Next slide, please. Again, welcome to the webinar. We have a full agenda today. I'll introduce the program staff. We'll talk about the CDFI fund and its mission and how the Small Dollar Loan Program fits within that mission. We'll then discuss the application and its components. We'll cover important reminders and deadlines. We'll provide our contact information. And at the end, we'll have an opportunity for questions and answers. So for folks that are joining us a little bit late, we kindly ask that you turn your cameras off and keep your lines muted. Again, this presentation is being recorded, and we will make the slides and the recording available probably next week. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm thrilled to introduce the Small Dollar Loan Program staff. It's a small team, small but mighty, as I like to say. Again, my name is Eddie Cybulewski. I'm the program manager. I'm also joined today by Julie Sandler, who's the associate program manager. We also have Michael Fulton on the team, and Amy Apitz is the management and program analyst. Next slide, please. As most of you know, the mission of the CDFI fund is to expand economic opportunities for underserved areas and communities. Next slide. The Small Dollar Loan Program supports that mission by helping CDFIs expand consumer access to mainstream financial institutions and providing alternatives to high-cost small dollar loans. It also assists unbanked and underbanked populations build credit, access affordable capital, and allowing greater access into the mainstream financial system. Let's talk a little bit about our most recent funding round, the FY 2022 round, and its impact. As many of you know, in FY 2022, which is the most recent funding round, the CDFI fund awarded $11.4 million to 66 certified CDFIs located in 23 states, the District of Columbia, Guam, and Puerto Rico. There were 3 types of certified CDFIs that received awards. Again, in FY 2022, we had 34 credit unions that received $6.6 million, 22 loan funds that received $2.8 million, and 10 banks or bank holding companies received $2 million. So again, the program awards a diverse type of recipients. And in that round, we had 17 awards totaling nearly $3.7 million, which is roughly a third of the total funds awarded, that were made to CDFIs located in persistent poverty counties, which exceeded the congressional mandate of 10%. Next slide, please. So we talked about the most recent round, the FY 2022 round. Let's talk about the current round, the FY 2024 round, which opened on October 20th. As many of you know, the FY 2024 round is a double round, which means that the funding will consist of $9 million from the FY 2023 appropriations and the FY 2024 appropriations. That amount is yet to be determined. Let's talk about some of the key changes for this funding round. So for FY 2024, minimum TA award amount has increased from $10,000 to $20,000. The minimum total award amount, which means applicants are requesting both loan loss reserves and technical assistance awards, increased from $30,000 to $40,000. Applicants are now required to submit the Title VI compliance worksheet, which is an online form. This is a new requirement, and we will cover it in the presentation later on. But we do want to flag that this is something that the applicants will be required to submit, and they will not be able to submit the application without completing the Title VI compliance worksheet. And last but not least, applicants are required to attach their financial statements or call reports for the 2 most recently completed fiscal years. Previously, it was 3 years. Next slide, please. Okay, talk a little bit about the program product requirements. Per our statute, our grants can only be used to support new and existing small dollar loan programs that offer loans to consumers that are $2,500 or less, must be repaid in installments. They cannot have prepayment penalties, and the payments must be reported to at least one of the consumer reporting agencies. And lastly, they must be underwritten with standards that consider the consumer's ability to repay. Next slide, please. So the small dollar loan program is very flexible, and let's talk about the different eligible uses of our awards. Our awards can be used for loan loss reserves, or LLR, as we like to call it, to cover losses on small dollar loans associated with starting a new small dollar loan program or to expand an existing small dollar loan program. Our awards can also be used for technical assistance, or TA, for technology, staff support, and other costs associated with establishing a new small dollar loan program or expanding an existing small dollar loan program. Please note that our grants cannot be used to provide direct loans to consumers. Next slide, please. Okay, I will turn it over to Amy, who will provide some examples of successful applicants and how they used the small dollar loan awards. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Hi, everyone. Glad that you could join us. Some good examples from the past that applicants used their LLR TA4 include for the LLR to attract additional capital to increase deployment because of the historic loss rates that occur with the small dollar lending program, and many investors might require more loan loss reserves, as much as 15%. Another example of a loan loss reserve is to be able to serve folks that you might not have been able to serve in the past, those who lack credit history or lower than average credit score. So you can design a product and underwriting that can expand your borrowers. For a TA award, folks have used it to track the impact outcomes of its small dollar lending program by accessing credit pulls at the time of the borrower applied for the loan and then 1 year later. additional TA award that you can use is for technical service company to provide quick processing capabilities and a user-friendly interface for its small dollar lending program, which, you know, everyone knows that's really important to be able to have online abilities for your products. Next slide, please. The award amounts, and Eddie kind of went over this some, for the TA award, the range is from $20,000 to $150,000. The LLR award amount the range is from $20,000 to $350,000. And for the combo award, the range is from $40,000 to $500,000. Now, of course, that's going to be based also on the available funds, you know, how much requests that we get in the available funds. And also, as you can see, for the LLR award and the combo award, you cannot go over 20% of the applicant's 3-year projected total to be closed on balance sheet for your small dollar loans. Next slide, please. For applicant eligibility, the biggest thing to remember is that it has to be a certified CDFI in one of these 3 categories: a certified CDFI or a partnership between a certified CDFI and any federally insured depository institution with the primary mission to serve targeted investment areas, or a partnership between 2 or more certified CDFIs. Next slide, please. Also, for a 501c4 status, you're not eligible if you engage in lobbying activities to receive an award. And for an affiliate, the applicant must be the one who meets all the eligibility requirements on their own behalf and not rely on a parent company or affiliate. An applicant that applies on behalf of another organization will be rejected without further consideration, other than depository institution holding companies. Next slide, please. So for eligible applicants for the 3 categories, for LLR grant, you must be a certified CDFI or a partnership between a certified CDFI and an FIDI with a primary mission to serve targeted investment areas. For the TA grants, you must be a certified CDFI or a partnership between 2 or more certified CDFIs. And for a combo grant, the LLR and the TA, you must be a certified CDFI. Next slide, please. Now there's 9 prohibited practices. So we'll go over each one of those. Your product cannot have high rate loans, coerced automated loan payments, excessive number of refinancing, loan add-ons, for example, credit insurance, mandatory credit insurance, security interest in household goods, vehicles, or deposit accounts. There is an exception: loans that have a savings account component or a credit builder loan. You cannot have excessive late fees on missed loan payments, abusive overdraft practices, aggressive debt collection practices, or forced arbitration clause, class action bans, and other bans on legal remedies. Next slide, please. Now, program priorities. We've got 6 program priorities, and those include: your product offers small dollar loan terms that are at least 90 days, use underwriting that considers both the borrower's ability to repay a loan based on both their borrower's income and their expenses, make loan decisions within 1 business day after receipt of required documentation. Next slide. And offer a reduction in the borrower's loan rate if the borrower elects to use automatic debit payments, offer automatic saving features that are built into the regularly scheduled payments on a loan, provided that the resulting payment is still affordable, and offer access to financing, education, and credit counseling. And with that, I am going to send it over to Julie, who will have a lot of detail and finish up our presentation for the day.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone for being here. So Eddie alluded to this earlier. I'm going to spend a minute talking about a new piece of an application for the CDFI fund. And so this is the first year in the first program. So all SDL program applicants are required to submit the Title VI compliance worksheet. This assists the CDFI fund in determining whether applicants are compliant with Treasury regulations of implementing Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Title VI of the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in programs or activities receiving federal financial assistance from the Department of Treasury. So that includes our small dollar loan program, that includes other CDFI fund programs, CDFI financial assistance, all of our programs. So the requirement, so in order to do this, you must complete the worksheet via AMIS. You may have already received notification that this worksheet is available. So it's not completed as part of the application, but you will attach it to the application. So again, there's specific user guides, specific information that is on the CDFI Fund website. There's a link. This presentation is on our website already. You will be able to find information about completing that and reach out to our friends in compliance if you have questions. So we recommend you get started on that, complete your Title VI worksheet, and you will attach that to your application. Otherwise, you won't be able to submit. So please don't wait till the last minute. I do want to highlight for anyone who is a bank holding company applying, you will also need to complete a Title VI compliance worksheet for the bank subsidiary that will be doing the activities on your behalf. So just wanted to put that in there. Please reach out with questions about this. You can even get started on it today if you'd like. Great. So now I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the application. So I'll just cover the types of questions you'll receive when you're completing the actual AMIS application. So the first section is organizational questions. Many of these are pre-populated from AMIS. So if you need to edit any of this information, perhaps your fiscal year end changed from June to December, you would need to go and do that within your AMIS org profile. This also includes the award amount request, application contracts, etc. We have an executive summary, just summarizing the key elements. And then the next part is a big part of the application, the narrative. When you think of what a grant application, this is here, part 1, business strategy and community impact. This goes over what are the financing gaps that you're seeing in community and why do you need this award? What will you be using the award for? What responsible and affordable loan characteristics will be offered? And we want to hear a little bit more about the specific products that this award will be supported by. Also, if you have a track record of making small dollar loans, we'd like to hear and see about that, as well as very important are the projections of what you will be able to do with this award. And I'll go into this a little bit more detail. The second part of the application is we ask about your key personnel, previous CDFI funds award, and we do have financial health questions, charts, as well as compliance and risk evaluation. Next slide for me. So table 1. So I'm going to spend the next few slides talking about the tables because they are unique to our program and we want to make sure that we're providing good information. So the purpose of table 1 is to provide information on the small dollar loan products. So is your small dollar loan product a credit builder loan, an emergency loan, a Christmas loan? We just want to hear a little bit more about it and the characteristics. So for products to be supported by the Small Dollar Loan Program Award, you should ensure that the product meets the standards and requirements as described in the NOFA. So for example, as a loan size of $2,500 or less, is reporting to the credit agencies. Perhaps you have a small dollar loan product as not defined in the NOFA that is now reporting to credit agencies, but the new one you will plan to. So that's just, we're kind of looking for a little bit of detail. So you're able to enter 3 products that will be supported, 3 loan products that is offered by your organization. And so we would encourage you, if you have more than 3 products, kind of choose the ones that are most similar and relevant to the loan product that would be supported by the Small Dollar Loan Program Award. So table 2A. Table 2A is what is the track record of providing small dollar loan products. This information should only reflect the total dollars of small dollar loans made by your organization and based on the NOFA requirements. So like I said, reporting to the credit agencies, repaid in installments, kind of those bullets that Eddie walked through, and also not include any of the prohibited practices. If you don't have a track record, you will not be required to complete this application, and we ask you different questions about your plan for launching. So like I said, we do want to make sure that this is the track record that most similarly matches the definition of a small dollar loan product as defined by the NOFA. So if your average loan size is greater than 2,500, you will receive a validation error. Next slide. So table 2B, everyone does need to complete this. This is the projections table. And this will only be closed loans that will be supported by the fiscal year 2022 Small Dollar Loan Program Award. So we're not looking for a view of your whole portfolio. It's just what will the award support. So if you've received an award in the past, we don't want to have information about your PG&M requirements from your 22 award. This is just about your 2024 award. Data validations are in place to ensure that accurate data is entered in Table 2B, and applicants will not be able to complete this table and submit the application if there are validation errors. So for TA-only applicants, the average loan size must be less than 2,500. LLR and combo applicants, again, average loan size cannot exceed 2,500. The loan loss reserve percentage over the projected 3 years must be 20% or less of the average closed loan amount. And that's kind of the requirement that we were outlining in the minimum and maximum loan award sizes. And then total loan loss reserves must equal the loan loss reserve amount you are requesting. So for example, if you requested the max amount of 350,000, but your projections show you only needing 200,000 of loan loss reserves over the course of 3 years, a validation error would pop up and you would not be able to submit the application, because we really just want to make sure that your award request is what you're projecting your need to be. So we have a 2-step process, and we did this webinar for a specific reason. So we have a 2-step process. Submission of 2 different documents and 2 different online systems. So the first, which is coming up Monday, 5 p.m. not 5 p.m., 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, is the standard form 424. And this is submitted through grants.gov. So this form kicks off your application. Again, this is something that you can do today when you get off, if you haven't done it already. The second step is the Small Dollar Loan Program application. This is submitted through AMIS. So this is really the bulk of your organization's, the narrative, financial data about the products. This is also where you will attach that Title VI compliance worksheet to the application. And our AMIS guide walks you through what that attachment is, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just an attachment as long as it's there. So you've completed your application, you're like, what comes next? So we have different tools to evaluate the application. So we have the application assessment tool. That's kind of a financial and compliance risk analysis. The next bulk, I kind of had talked through it here, the business strategy and community impact, as well as organizational capacity. We review your application. And so depending on your score, you will either receive a low, medium, or high risk. And applicants that receive a score of high risk will not receive further consideration for an award. So awards will be based on demand and factors such as due diligence review, the risk rating level, how much you've requested, how much you're projecting to close. We also, the CDFI fund statute requires that 10% of our funding goes to persistent poverty counties. So we may make adjustments if to ensure that 10% of our applicants who are headquartered in persistent poverty counties, we meet that requirement in the awards that we are given, make awards to for this round. After the award decisions have been made and awards have been announced, you will, if you're selected to receive an award, you will enter into an assistance agreement and you will become a recipient, and that's how you will receive payment. So the assistance agreement has a 3-year period of performance. It will set forth certain requirements and terms, which include the amount of the award, approved uses of the award, as well as the performance goal and measures. So the expected dollar value of small dollar loans to be closed over the performance period, as well as reporting requirements that we require for recipients. So important reminder, so be sure to include all the application documents in Table 2 of the application instructions. So this includes your audits or call reports, depending on what entity type you are, Title VI compliance worksheet. So be sure to review that. November 20th, please submit your SF424 form in grants.gov. And then the AMIS application is due December 20th. So we're getting in right before the holidays. Only one application is allowed. So you can only submit a combo application or just a TA application, just one. And we do encourage you to submit the application at least 3 days prior to the AMIS application deadline in case there are validation errors or technical issues. So I just kind of walked it through you. We open the round on October 20th, 11:59 p.m. November 20th, please submit your SF424. Also on November 20th, we need to make sure you're registered. There's a user and an organization in AMIS, and the EIN, employee identification number, and unique entity identifier number matches in AMIS, the UEI, the same that's in there, or that matches in your grants.gov form and SAM.gov. So please make sure everything is aligned so it can be linked. It's right there by November 20th. And we're available for questions up to 2 days before we close the round on December 20th. So, and don't forget also your Title VI compliance worksheet. And with that, and we've thrown a lot at you, so please reach out to us. We encourage you to submit a service request, but we have other ways to reach out here for questions, SDL program about the application. If you have a question about Title VI compliance or your certification status, we have our partners as well as IT. We don't manage grants.gov or SAM.gov, so if you are having technical issues, you will have to reach out to them. And with that, I will pass it back to my team, and we look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you so much, Julie and Amy. That was a very detailed and thorough presentation. It looks like we have some questions that came in. So I'll start with the first question. Again, for those folks that have joined us late, please use the chat feature in the Zoom platform to send us your questions, and we'll just go down the line, and hopefully we'll get to everyone's question. The first question is whether a recipient can use the award to pay for credit reporting expenses. That's a great question. The answer is yes. If you go to our application FAQs, that's found in question number 32. That is an eligible small dollar program TA award expense. And if you look in the FAQs, starting on page 15, there's a whole section about eligible activities and the types of expenses that are covered by the Technical Assistance Award. Again, all of our application materials are found on our website. If you go to cdfifund.gov, click on the small dollar loan program, and then click on step 2. Apply, and you will see all of the application materials, including the application FAQs. Okay, the second question is whether a nonprofit that's not a CDFI can apply for a program. The answer to this is no, as stated in the NOFA. In order to be eligible for the small dollar loan program, the organization has to be a certified CDFI by the NOFA publication date. So you do have to be a certified CDFI to apply for this program. Okay, the next question is whether a TA award can be used to hire a full-time financial education program coordinator to expand the SDL program. Yes, that is something that is an eligible use that's covered by TA. Again, as long as it supports either an existing small dollar loan program or helps to create a new small dollar loan program, generally it's going to be an eligible use. Please consult the NOFA, the application FAQs, and also the UAR on specific questions. You can also, if you're not sure, you can always submit a service request or email us and we'll confirm. But most of the uses that support expanding or creating a new small dollar loan program will be covered by TA. The next question is very specific about the Title VI worksheet. I would encourage anyone that has specific questions regarding the Title VI compliance worksheet to submit a service request to our compliance team. They're the ones that are managing the Title VI worksheet, and they can provide additional information regarding this worksheet. Okay, let's go to the next question about a link to the slide deck. Yeah, so the recording and the PowerPoint presentation will be available on our website probably sometime next week or the following week. Next week is also Thanksgiving, so it might take a little bit longer, but currently we have our the first application webinar slides and the recording. Again, the slides are identical, so you can access those now. And then this webinar should be uploaded sometime next week or the following week. There's a few questions about filling out the SF424 form. The most important fields on the SF424 form include the organization name, the UEI, and the EIN. Those are really important because they're used to match your SF424 with an AMIS org account. So if if you're using a different UEI, the org might not match. So for example, if someone is asking like, what is the funding period, start date and end date? Julie, do you want to
Yeah. So just there are specific questions in the SF424, and the beginning section of the application instructions instructs you whether fields are required or if there's something specific that the CDFI fund requires you to put in. So if you go to the application instructions, application guidance, it's a kind of a schematic of the fields, and then if the field is required, and if it is, if the CDFI fund has something specific you should put in. So please kind of refer to that. I think there's a few questions related about that there, but that is a kind of, that's where that resource is. There's also a few questions in the FAQs also at the beginning on the SF424 if you have questions about that.
Yep. Thank you, Julie. That was very helpful. So yeah, you can refer to the application instructions. The most important information on the SF424 is the org name, the EIN, the UEI. Some of the other fields are, they're just template. It's a template form. So a lot of those fields are not that relevant for us. So you can just use the application instructions, but we just ask that you provide the correct UEI and the EIN and the org name so it can be matched to the AMIS org account that you've created. Okay, let's see. I'm not seeing any more questions. There's probably, okay, let's see. Okay, so we'll follow up. Mary, I see your question. We'll take down your information and we'll follow up with you after the presentation. Yeah, Julie and Amy, if you can take her, if you can just take her information, we can follow up offline.
I see one more question, Gloria, about where do we find the Title VI form? That is an AMIS. And that is an AMIS, not in the application. It is an AMIS. There's a link within this document about how to access the Title VI, but that is an AMIS functionality. So good question.
And I believe there's also an AMIS technical guide for completing the Title VI compliance worksheet that's also that's found on our website, so you can refer to that as well. Okay. Are there any other questions? All right, let me see. And it's slide 19. If you go to slide number 19, there's a hyperlink in the last bullet that will take you to the user guide for the Title VI worksheet. Slide 19. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions. Again, if you think of any questions, please feel free to email us or submit a service request. The recording and the slides will be posted on our website soon. Again, the key deadlines to remember are, first, it's going to be Monday, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when the SF424 has to be submitted. So if you're not sure about applying, you can always submit the SF424 and then decide later whether you want to submit the AMIS application by the December 20th deadline. However, if you don't submit the SF424 by the November 20th deadline, then you will not be able to submit the AMIS application. So in other words, there's no downside to submitting the SF424. We encourage all eligible applicants to submit the SF424 by the deadline, and then you can decide whether you want to move forward and submit the AMIS application by 5 p.m. on December 20th. And all of the times are Eastern time zone. Okay. With that, I want to thank you again for joining us, and happy Thanksgiving. We hope that everyone applies. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.